In the quiet town of Waterbury, Connecticut, a young man vanished into thin air on an ordinary summer day in 2004. He left behind everything that mattered: his dog, his home, and the promise of a future that would never come to pass. What followed was a chilling web of secrets, strained relationships, and unanswered questions that haunt those that knew him. Billy Smolinski was no stranger to hard work or the love of a devoted family, but something, or someone, brought his life to an abrupt and unsettling halt. Was it a jealous feud, a shadow from his past, or something far darker lurking beneath the surface? For 2 decades, his family has fought to keep his memory alive, digging through the layers of a mystery that seemed to grow deeper with every turn. In this story, we'll journey through the events leading to Billy's disappearance, explore the theories that have emerged, and confront the lingering questions that remain unanswered to this day. So, what really happened to Billy Smolinski? The truth may be closer than we think, or buried forever. Join me for a ride through the strange, odd, and mysterious here at Odd Mysteries Stories. Billy Smolinski was a 31-year-old man from Waterbury, Connecticut, who lived a seemingly ordinary life. Described by those who knew him as hardworking and dependable, Billy was employed as a landscaper and a tow truck driver. He lived alone in his house on Holly Street, a modest home that he shared with his beloved German Shepherd, Harley. Billy's life wasn't free from its share of complications, but nothing suggested he would suddenly vanish without an explanation. On August 24, 2004, Billy's routine took an unexpected turn. That afternoon, he asked his neighbor, Linda Winkle, to care for Harley for a few days. Billy explained that he was heading out of town to look at a car he was interested in buying. This was unusual. Billy was not someone who took spontaneous trips. Still, nothing about his demeanor raised an immediate alarm. Billy's family became concerned when he failed to return after several days. He had left his truck parked at the end of his driveway, with the keys and his wallet still inside. His phone, an essential device for someone like Billy, who worked in jobs requiring constant communication, went unanswered. Even more unusual, his dog Harley, who Billy adored, was left behind. For those who knew Billy, leaving Harley in someone else's care for an extended period was uncharacteristic. Something didn't add up. 3 days after Billy's sudden departure, his parents, Janice and William Sr., reported him missing. The initial response from law enforcement was lackluster. Police speculated Billy might have taken off voluntarily. This assumption was based on the fact that he was an adult and had no known reason to disappear. However, his family strongly disagreed. Billy wasn't the type to abandon his responsibilities or go without contact, especially with those closest to him. His family began their own search efforts, canvassing the area and asking anyone who may have seen Billy for information. Flyers were posted, phone calls were made, and the small community of Waterbury started whispering about the man who had vanished into thin air. What could have prompted Billy to leave so suddenly, and why hadn't he come back? The case that started as a missing persons report was about to take a darker turn, as troubling details about Billy's life in the weeks leading up to his disappearance began to surface. Could these provide the answers his family so desperately needed, or would they only deepen the mystery? As investigators and Billy's family probed into the days leading up to his disappearance, a picture began to emerge of a man whose personal life had recently become tumultuous. At the center of the story was Billy's year-long relationship with 51-year-old Madeline Gleason. The two had been romantically involved, but their relationship had grown strained in the prior weeks. Billy suspected Madeline was seeing another man, a suspicion that would later prove to be a key focus of the investigation. Madeline's alleged infidelity weighed heavily on Billy. He had been aware of her involvement with Chris Sorensen, a local politician and school superintendent. This revelation had not only hurt Billy, but also fueled tensions between him, Madeline, and Sorensen. By August of 2004, Billy had ended his relationship with Madeline, but it seemed the emotional fallout was far from over. The day of Billy's disappearance, August 24th, started with a tense visit to Madeline's home. Billy, hoping to reconcile, showed up unannounced. He wanted to discuss their relationship and possibly mend what was broken. However, Madeline rejected him, leaving Billy visibly upset. According to accounts, this was the last confirmed interaction between the two. Later that same day, Billy made a phone call to Chris Sorensen. He left a voicemail with a chilling warning: "Watch your back." The message indicated that Billy was not ready to let go of the situation and that his frustration had reached a boiling point. This act, while brief, added another layer of complexity to an already fraught situation. As investigators pieced together these interactions, they began to consider whether the conflict between Billy, Madeline, and Chris could have played a role in his disappearance. Was Billy's warning to Sorensen a desperate outburst, or did it hint at something more sinister? Could the rejection from Madeline have pushed him into a vulnerable state, leading to an impulsive decision? Or even worse, foul play? The relationships Billy navigated in the weeks leading up to his disappearance were filled with tension, rejection, and unresolved conflict. These dynamics provided investigators with a crucial starting point, but they also raised troubling questions. Was his disappearance linked to his romantic entanglements? And if so, who might have had the motive, or the means, to harm him? As these questions lingered, Billy's family grew increasingly desperate for answers. As time passed, the search for Billy Smolinski began to intensify, but not without challenges. Early on, law enforcement treated Billy's disappearance as a case of an adult walking away from his life. This assumption delayed critical investigative efforts and frustrated his family, who were certain Billy would never abandon his home, his responsibilities, or his beloved dog Harley. Billy's parents took matters into their own hands. They distributed flyers throughout Waterbury and neighboring towns, determined to keep their son's case in the public eye. The family's grassroots efforts often drew attention, but they also encountered resistance. Some individuals targeted by the flyers even retaliated, further complicating their quest for answers. By 2006, the investigation took a significant turn when Chad Hansen came forward with startling claims. Chad alleged that Billy had been murdered by Sean Carpiuk, Madeline Gleason's son, during a heated confrontation. Chad claimed he had helped Sean bury Billy's body in Seymour, Connecticut. The details were graphic and specific enough to prompt 3 different searches of wooded areas and private properties in the towns of Seymour and Oxford. Cadaver dogs were deployed, and teams scoured the locations Hansen identified. However, none of the searches uncovered any trace of Billy or evidence supporting Hansen's claims. Adding to the frustration, Hansen's credibility came under scrutiny. Investigators discovered inconsistencies in his story, leading to his arrest for making false statements to the police. Hansen was sentenced to prison, and the search for Billy returned to square one. Despite the setbacks, police began to focus more closely on Billy's personal relationships and the days leading up to his disappearance. Madeline Gleason remained a person of interest, giving her tumultuous relationship with Billy and her connection to Chris Sorensen. Sean Carpiak, though implicated in Hansen's story, had died in early 2005 of a drug overdose. Yet, without concrete evidence, no other arrests could be made. Throughout this period, the Smolinski family continued to advocate for their son. Their relentless push for answers exposed gaps in the handling of missing persons cases, leading to broader discussions about systemic changes. Still, the central mystery remained. If Billy hadn't left voluntarily, Then who was responsible for his disappearance? And why did every lead seem to evaporate into dead ends? As the investigation dragged on, theories about Billy's fate swirled, but tangible answers remained elusive. The deeper the case was investigated, the more questions seemed to surface, questions that would haunt his family and challenge investigators for years to come. As the years passed, the Smolinski family faced an uphill battle, not only in their search for answers, but also in their efforts to keep Billy's case alive in the public eye. The determination to distribute flyers with Billy's picture and details became a cornerstone of their advocacy. However, this seemingly straightforward act of spreading awareness would embroil them in an unexpected legal battle. Madeline Gleason, Billy's ex-girlfriend, took issue with the Smolinskis' efforts, claiming harassment. She alleged that their flyer campaign damaged her reputation and caused emotional distress. The conflict escalated when Gleason filed a defamation suit against Billy's family. This lawsuit included accusations that they had targeted her unfairly, despite their insistence that they were only seeking answers in Billy's disappearance. The lawsuit brought additional strain to an already devastated family. Janice Smolinski, Billy's mother, had to defend her family's actions in court, explaining that their only goal was to bring attention to Billy's case. The legal proceedings were grueling, but ultimately the case was overturned in the Smolinskis' favor. While this was a victory for the family, it underscored the emotional and financial toll their search for Billy had taken. The Smolinskis' struggles didn't stop there. Frustrated by the inefficiencies in handling of missing persons cases, they began advocating for legislative change. Their efforts culminated in the passage of Billy's Law in 2022, officially known as the Help Find Missing Act. The law aimed to improve coordination between the FBI's National Crime Information Center, otherwise known as NCIC, and the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, also known as NAMIS. This legislation was a significant step forward in bridging the gaps that often left families of missing persons in the dark. For the Smolinski family, the law represented a legacy of hope, ensuring that other families wouldn't have to face the same barriers that they encountered. Yet, even as they worked to create systemic change, the mystery of Billy's disappearance remained unresolved. The legal battles and advocacy efforts raised the critical question: how could someone simply vanish without a trace, leaving behind loved ones forced to fight for justice on their own? For Billy's family, the pursuit of answers was more than a quest for closure. It was a mission to ensure his disappearance was never forgotten. But as they pushed forward, the case remained shrouded in uncertainty, with no clear path to uncovering the truth. Despite the Smolinski family's relentless efforts and years of investigation, the mystery of Billy Smolinski's disappearance remains unsolved. Over the years, numerous theories have surfaced, some based on circumstantial evidence, others fueled by the peculiar behavior of people connected to the case. Yet, no definitive answers have emerged. One prominent theory points to Billy's tumultuous relationship with Madeline Gleason. Their breakup, coupled with Billy's belief that she was involved with another man, created a volatile situation in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. His warning voice mailed to Chris Sorensen, Madeline's alleged romantic interest, added another layer of tension. Some have speculated that Billy's confrontation with Madeline and his anger toward Sorensen may have escalated into something far more sinister. However, no direct evidence ties either Madeline or Sorensen to Billy's disappearance. Chad Hansen's earlier claims about helping Madeline's son, Sean, bury Billy's body also remains a focal point of speculation. While Hansen's story ultimately led to his arrest for providing false information, it did not completely dispel suspicion surrounding Sean Karpuyuk. Some wonder if Hansen's narrative, while exaggerated or fabricated, might have been based on a grain of truth. Could he have known something about Billy's fate that he chose to distort for attention or self-preservation? Another theory suggests that Billy's disappearance could have been the result of an unrelated act of violence. While Waterbury wasn't known for high crime rates, the possibility of an accidental encounter with a dangerous individual cannot be entirely ruled out. This theory raises troubling questions, though. Could Billy have been targeted by someone outside of his circle? And if so, why has no trace of him ever been found? The lack of physical evidence continues to baffle investigators and frustrate Billy's family. Extensive searches of wooded areas, private properties, and other locations tied to tips and theories have yielded no significant findings. Even cadaver dogs, used in some of these searches, have failed to uncover clues. For the Smolinskis, the unanswered questions are as tormenting as the mystery itself. Did someone close to Billy have a hand in his disappearance, or was his fate the result of an unpredictable random act? As the years have passed, the likelihood of new evidence surfacing diminishes, but the family refuses to give up hope. Theories, no matter how compelling, remain just that, theories. What happened to Billy Smolinski? Why did he vanish on that summer day in 2004? And most importantly, will his family ever receive answers that they deserve? These questions linger as the search for the truth continues. For over 2 decades, the disappearance of Billy Smolinski has remained one of Connecticut's most perplexing mysteries. Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement, Billy's family, and the broader community, the truth about what happened on that fateful day in August in 2004 remains elusive. The passage of time has done little to ease the pain for those who loved him, nor has it brought them closer to understanding the events that led to his sudden disappearance. Billy's case has highlighted both the challenges families face when someone vanishes and the systemic gaps that existed in how missing persons cases were handled. The Smolinski's family's advocacy for Billy's law has been a testament to their enduring commitment to not only their son's memory, but to also helping others in similar situations. While the legislation has improved the ability to track and connect missing persons cases, it has yet to provide answers for Billy's family. The legal battles and interpersonal conflicts surrounding the case have only deepened the mystery. Relationships strained by betrayal and fueled by tension have left lingering questions. Could Billy's voicemail to Chris Sorensen have ignited a series of events that led to his disappearance? Was his ex-girlfriend Madeline Gleason's refusal to reconcile an emotional trigger that spiraled into something more sinister? Or, as some have speculated, was Billy the victim of a random act of violence, his fate unrelated to the personal dramas in his life? Theories abound, but the absence of physical evidence or credible eyewitness accounts continues to cast a long shadow over the investigation. Searches that once held hope now feel like distant echoes, and tips that might have seemed promising have faded into obscurity. The lack of closure is an open wound for Billy's family, who have spent over 2 decades waiting for that phone call, the discovery, or the breakthrough that will bring them the answers they so desperately seek. As we reflect on Billy's story, we're left to grapple with the haunting reality of how someone could vanish so completely. What clues might still lie hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Is the truth out there, buried beneath the layers of time and secrecy? Or will it forever remain a chilling enigma? For those who remember Billy, the fight for answers continues. His family's unwavering dedication serves as both a reminder of his life and a symbol of hope that, one day, the truth will come to light. Until then, the question remains, what really happened to Billy Smolinski? Hey, isn't Billy's story a truly sad one? I feel so bad for his family. Thanks once again for watching my video. My name is Vince. Would you please consider supporting my channel by either buying me a cup of coffee at the link below or treating yourself to some merchandise at my online shop? I really appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this story, you might also be interested in the story involving the mysterious disappearance of Kelly Wilson. You'll find that link in the top right corner of your screen. Click there to watch it. Thank you.